Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And it is August 28th. Happy August 28th. I brought a bunch of my meditation books with me today, and I thought I would read a couple of these, or one or two. I actually wanted to read from The Soul's Companion, which is by T.N. Dayton, PhD, and it says, Connecting with the Soul Through Daily Meditations. This is actually a meditation book that my mom gave me, and she inscribed it in here. She said, To Peter, on your 5th birthday, my sobriety birthday, I love you and Merry Christmas. Now on to the new millennium. Let our souls take flight. Love, Mom. P.S. I love you too with all my heart and soul. So, she gave me this book, and that would have been, okay, so I got sober in 1994, 5 would have been 1999, going into the year 2000, which I have a whole story about the year that it turned 2000 with my mom and all this kind of stuff, so I should tell that story on here sometime. It was kind of a very cool year. That was when I was with my very first boyfriend, and he was really, really sick, and we couldn't do anything or go and do anything, you know, and if you remember back then, we really thought, like, the world was going to shut down, you know, at the year 2000, and I remember, well, I'll just tell a story now. I remember my mom and I always get really, really emotional telling this story because I'm so passionate about sobriety and recovery. And my mom and I was like house sitting for my dad and my stepmom at the time. And so that night we went over to my mom's house and watched it like turn midnight and stuff like that. I felt so bad. My ex was like horribly sick, and it was here, I can remember, and he just kind of like sat on the couch and was sick the whole night and didn't feel great. My mom had cheese and, you know, coffee and little cookies and stuff, and we watched the ball drop, and then we went home and went to bed. So it was really exciting, year 2000. But the year before that, I can remember my friend and I, we went to some club, and like they did not stop playing that Prince's 1999. Do you remember that song? Anyway, but my mom and I, so like throughout the day, like every time that like a new like time zone would turn, you know, the year 2000, like we were watching all of that. It was on CNN and it was on the news, and Anderson Cooper actually was like doing a lot of the news coverage of it. And so my mom and I were watching it, you know, we would call each other like with all the updates. And so we were talking to each other like every year. This is probably one of my best memories with my mom. And I don't know why, it just like, it takes something like this to trigger this memory. But I remember there was one part that we were watching it, and they were talking about in the last 1,000, the last 2,000 years, the 10 events that had profoundly changed the course of Earth. And the number one was the birth of Jesus Christ. And number two, I always get so emotional talking about this, was the meeting of Dr. Bob and Bill W. in Akron, Ohio, which was the beginning of Alcoholics Anonymous. And you think about that. You think about, number one was the birth of Jesus Christ, and number two was the beginning of Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, how many people's lives have been affected by receiving the gift of sobriety, you know? And I think every single day, which is one of the reasons why, you know, I still say a prayer every single day for the still suffering alcoholic and addict out there, is that there are people that will never be introduced to the gift of sobriety, you know? Like, people come on my videos all the time and they're like, congratulations, 25 years, it's amazing. And, you know, congratulations, you know, we love hearing your sobriety stories and thank you so much, you help us and whatever. But like, the counterpart to that is that there are people literally out there on a daily basis that have never heard of a 12-step program, have never heard of treatment, don't have the resources to go to treatment, don't know how to find meetings, are resistant to go to meetings, you know, don't want to go see a counselor, and they will never be introduced to one day of sobriety in their life, that they will suffer for their entirety of their life. You know, and I think about that, and I don't know what finally changed for me on that night, you know, of December 16th going into December 17th of 1994, which was my sobriety birthday. I don't know what changed for me, you know, but I feel very, very blessed to be one of the millions of people in the world that are sober today and living a sober life. And there's a lot of us. We're everywhere, you know? So, all right, let's read, God, I didn't expect that today on this meditation. Let's read from The Soul's Companion, August 28th. I said the last time that I read this on here, I said that they're like very Buddhist in nature, and so I don't always read them on here, but then I read the meditation and I was like, ooh, I kind of forgot that I really like this book. So anyway, let's see, August 28th, A Torturous Path of Soul Loss. If I sincerely choose a spiritual path, I will be able to learn to spin straw into gold, to use my inner pain and anguish to burn through to soul. When I feel lost to myself, I will see it as a symptom that I need my care and attention. I will become kinder and take better care of myself so that I can again feel found and seen. It is part of the human condition that I can become alienated from soul. Alienation is a symptom of soul loss. And then it goes in here and it says this quote from Phil Cusino. What shamans traditionally called soul loss, we now think of as emptiness, alienation, or pain. There is a hole where once was soul. The crisis seizes up when we're in the steely grip of grief, betrayal, physical tear, numbing routine, or an unauthentic life. How is it that for the soul to be truly moved, a tortured psychology may be necessary, that there is an unfathomable longing in the soul to vex itself, as Edgar Allan Poe darkly described it? That the first step may be to lose the way, to lose our soul so that we may regain it. Though the ferocious reality of soul crisis may very often be sanitized today with clinical nomenclature, the ancients said it best. People can and do lose their souls. I think that's exactly what happened to me before I got sober. I think I lost my way. I often describe it to people as, I see it kind of like visually as like going down this road in the desert. And I'm going down this road, and like everybody that I know is going down this road too to get to this destination. We're going through this desert, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. If you can visualize that. And somewhere along the way, I got off the track. I went out into the desert, right? When I came back on, when I got sober, when I got back on the road, I was further down. There was a huge piece of my life that I had missed being out in the desert, if that makes sense, right? And I got back on the road, but there was a lot that I had missed that other people got, like college experiences or work experiences or just developmental maturity that I was lacking at the time, or responsibility. I had lost all of that. I had not learned that stuff as I went. So sure, I was down the road. I was the same age as a lot of people, but I had lost things that they had, But I did get back on the road. I did get back on the road to where I was going originally, and I think that that's what happens a lot to us. I think we do lose soul, Today, soul or spirit is who am I when you take the body away, right? And I can remember, my mom, one of the things that she said to me that really, really helped me towards the end, she believed this all her life. She said, I'm just a bag of soul. This is just skin and bones. Don't get attached to my body because I don't believe that, this is me. I believe I'm just soul. She would say that all the time. And so I think it's a Woody Allen quote, which I know a lot of people have huge issues with Woody Allen, rightfully so. But my mom, she watched a lot of his movies when she was younger and growing up, and so she would say that. I think she liked that quote from him. It was either Woody Allen or Bob Dylan that said, "I'm just a bag of soul," and she would say that throughout her life, and she said that definitely towards the end, And I think that really helped me kind of detach from her after she had passed away. But today for me, spirit and soul is that energy inside of me that gets excited or is moved or gets sad or when I hear music and I want to dance, or I'm driving down the road and I put my hand out the window and just feel it with the wind, it's all that is soul to me, or when I'm interacting with somebody and how I feel inside, all of that is soul to me. Who are you when you take all this away? And that's why I talk a lot on here about making our outsides match our soul. Have you ever met somebody and then you're just you look at them and you think, God, they're just living soul, right? When you look at them, they're colorful and vibrant, and you can see that their soul is on the outside. You know what I mean? I very rarely meet those types of people, but when I do, I'm so inspired in that moment to just are you ever attracted to that? Not romantically attracted, but just attracted to that energy that they have. You can see it in every aspect of them, So I love that. All right, let's read another meditation from the Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone. She's one of my faves. Okay. August 28th. Will probably help if I put my reading glasses on since I can hardly see. Okay. Opportunity for kindness. Oh, I love this already. August 28th, opportunity for kindness. You cannot do a kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it will be too late. Ralph Waldo Emerson. We shouldn't wait for the perfect moment to give a compliment or do a favor. Moments come and go too quickly. If we wait for them, we're likely to miss them altogether. We should always indulge an urge to do something nice for others. When the impulse hits, go with it. Give the compliment, do the favor, say something that will cheer a friend. I don't want to miss the chance to be kind to those around me, so I won't. I love that meditation. I think it's such a missed opportunity often that we just, don't throw out compliments or are nice to people or tell them what they want to hear or what they need to hear, maybe validate them, In my vlog every night, I always end it. And the very last thing I say in my outro, if you've watched my long outros, the very last thing I say, well, I always talk about reaching out to somebody and letting them know how much they mean to us in our life. Just anybody that we think that might need to hear that, But the very last thing I say before I sign off and say goodnight is I say, practice random acts of kindness, but don't tell anyone. I mean, that has been one of the most probably profound learning experiences I've ever learned in my life, is to just randomly practice acts of kindness, And it can be anything. It can be from giving somebody a parking space to just complimenting somebody to just simply saying thank you or excuse me. I think we've lost a lot of that, to just, I don't know, taking somebody a Coke that you think might need it or whatever, or just if you see people working in your neighborhood, landscapers or whatever, taking them out some bottles of water or whatever, you know what I mean? Just anything, just random. It doesn't have to be some huge gesture. You don't have to spend $30 at Starbucks buying the person's coffee behind you. It can be some just, nice gesture or holding a door open for somebody, but then don't tell anybody about it. That's the altruistic part of it, right? Just doing it because we're wanting to practice kindness, love, and compassion and put that out there in the world. Understanding, kindness, love, compassion, and understanding, but not because we want any pats on the back. So we don't go home and go, well, let me tell you what I did today. I bought all these people coffee, right? It's like when you buy somebody coffee at Starbucks behind you, and then do you ever drive off real slow to see if they notice? Now, we've all done it. Admit it, you've done it. We've all done it. But that's not what it's about, right? It's the act is just to put it out there in the world and to put some more, love out there. And always, too, like the book I read, to do always... Okay, I read this book in November, and it was called, why can't I never remember this book? Everybody's read this book, the 4 Agreements, and one of them in there was to always lead with love. And everything you do, ask yourself, am I leading with love? And I think it's a great question, So ask yourself that question, but in what you're doing, and just practice random acts of kindness, but don't tell anyone. And these are great meditations. I loved these today. So thank you guys. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.